Welcome, I am the Awkward GM Corbin, and happy 2024. Today I will be going over every role-playing game book I own. First up, we have the Red Dwarf role-playing game. This book was my first role-playing game that I ever bought. If you know Star Trek, it's a parody of Star Trek that came out in the 80s. It was a TV show, hence why these are all live-action faces. And it's not about dwarfs. It's about a spaceship crewed by a ragtag group of blue-collared people who are just having a good time. This is kind of like Paranoia meets Call of Cthulhu in that instead of having a sanity meter, you have a fear meter that can basically make you pee your pants in fear or freeze or any number of things. The binding of this book is pretty old. I did find another physical copy of this at a game store one time, but they no longer have it, and I've tried to get it for my friend, but if you try and buy this online as a physical copy, it's very difficult to find for under $100 or under a reasonable price. I will say that there is no official PDF copy of this. I have nostalgia goggles for it, so it's one of my most highly rated RPGs, and I feel like if you want to check it out, you should, especially if you're a fan of Star Trek or Star Wars or Stargate or even Red Dwarf. So going on with the comedy sci-fi angle for a little bit, we have the Men in Black role-playing game book. I found this in a store in the used pile. If you know Game Castle in New Hampshire, it no longer exists, but this book was like for $5. I bought it. It's a West End game that they licensed for Men in Black, and essentially it's a D6 system. My friend used this book to create a Star Wars role-playing game, which was pretty fun and crazy. The one shot that I did of this was so good, that's why my friend made the Star Wars version of Men in Black, the role-playing game. Even though West End did do the Star Wars role-playing game, and we could have just done that, but in any case, I highly recommend this book as well. Good for another sort of like low-effort campaign, I would say, if you're looking for something that is pretty simple and fast to play. This isn't too far off from that. From there, we go to my first foray into urban fantasy. We have the D20 Modern role-playing game, which was done by Wizards of the Coast, and it even had a Urban Arcana version where you could basically play as fantasy characters in the modern era. I will say it was written by, I believe, Chris Perkins. It's a 3.5 like system. It can be used to play a Chronicles of Darkness game if you are interested in bringing friends from D&D to Chronicles of Darkness. That being said, the core rules, the classes are your typical, you're a smart guy, you're a strong guy, you're a charismatic guy, or person, I'm sorry there. But for the Urban Arcana, it has a lot more interesting classes, like what would a cleric be like in a modern setting. Would I recommend this? If you are playing Chronicles of Darkness and you're enjoying that, I'd rather play that than this. I sort of give it a middling review. I did have friends who were very anti any other system than D&D, so if you have people like that, try to track one of these down. As you can see, I bought this for like $17 back in the day at Double Midnight Comics in Manchester, New Hampshire, though I believe they changed locations recently. I just wanted to thank you all for making 2023 a great year for this channel. We've grown significantly. We reached monetization, which doesn't mean much to you guys except that I get paid per view now, and you still don't have to pay for this. You could do the Patreon if you wish, and thank you to the patrons who are supporting the channel. Once I hit $30, I will be doing a Mage the Awakening actual play and videos on me preparing for it and my thoughts after running it. People chose Mage the Awakening because I hate it, and I think that's a good way to motivate people to help support the channel. Next up, we have the Tri-Stat system. This is specifically Ex Machina, which is a cyberpunk version of the Tri-Stat system. If you've never heard of it, don't worry. The Tri-Stat system is kind of like GURPS or any of the more simplified role-playing games. I would say I think it's Big Eyes Little Mouth is actually based off of the TriStat system, so if you're familiar with that book, you've definitely played this. This game has a lot of those like little weird things where you can take flaws, and in taking a flaw you can get more points to take on better attributes and better skills and abilities. That being said, I did run a game for this for quite a while. It does have that situation that a lot of role-playing games that aren't D&D have, which is the player characters are vastly outstrip the capabilities of the NPCs. This book, it was good at the time for me. I'm not sure if I'd run it anymore. I give this probably another middling score similar to the D20 Modern. Lastly, we have my favorite role-playing game of all time, which is Paranoia XP. This is another book that is out of print and very hard to come by. I think online people are selling this for over $50. Paranoia, if you don't know what it is a game where you and a bunch of other of your players go around trying to troubleshoot problems for a sentient computer, or possibly sentient computer, that is afraid of communists, secret societies, and mutants, and everyone's part of a secret society and is also secretly a mutant. So the computer can basically kill anyone in the entire complex because everyone is a traitor. And part of the game is getting these crazy off-the-wall missions and trying to get other players in trouble while also completing your personal goal, your secret society goal, or the main goal in general. This is a D20 system where you roll under your stat. A very simple way of playing it is if you roll under 7, it's always a success. Other than that, the system is kind of complex in how it handles like damage and armor, but it has a simplified version of running it called Zappy, where literally anyone hitting another person with an ability is going to kill them instantly. This is a very off-the-wall game. It is the perfect palate cleanser for someone who doesn't kill their players often and feels demoralized by not giving them a good enough challenge. This game will make you really think differently about being a GM, and it's the one game I always come back to try and get myself back in the groove when I feel like I am not giving my players a good enough challenge or not giving them anything that's interesting. 100% love will always go back to. Now that's every book I own physically. I do have a D&D 5e, D&D 4e, and I have an AD&D book that a friend gave to me when I moved out. Other than that, those are the role-playing game books I have. I have some free RPG books hanging around, but I mostly get my books online digitally through DriveThruRPG, which I'll put a link in the description below if you want to help the channel by buying some new books through the affiliate link. I don't think there are PDF links for the books that I've shown you here today because a lot of them are very old and out of print, but if there are, I'll try and put them in. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a good one, and what games are you looking forward to play in 2024? If you'd like to know more about what I'm planning this year for the channel, please follow me on Patreon. I have a lot of secret projects that I'm currently working on that I did not expect to be working on, but I will be talking about them after January and after February likely.